Wrong Turn. Wrong Turn, I have to say, is surprisingly one of those horror movies I like a lot, and I can't really explain why. I'll try my best. Wrong Turn was one of those movies I saw back in the day when I started getting into horror movies and I just, wanted to see my limits. That was back when I was like 14, barely 15 years old. I haven't really seen that many horror movies, but I came up with the idea and I was like, okay, let's see how much I can take. Um, so I saw a lot of movies, including The Hills Have Eyes, for example, 1408, the House of Wax remake, and eventually Wrong Turn. Now, out of all of these, I think Wrong Turn was the best, maybe with the exception of 1408, because it had a fair balance in between things. Like, it wasn't too much gore. Actually, there's not a whole lot, but it's still a terrifying movie. The acting is somewhat decent. I really have seen worse. Okay, there's some characters that obviously are just there to die, and therefore their actors are not that great either. But I think they were meant to be like that, so that's okay. But as for the main characters, they were pretty good. So the cast for this movie includes Desmond Harrington as the character of Chris Flynn. Now, this is the movie that introduced me to him. I thought he was okay, but in the end, he was even better in Ghost Ship. That's my opinion. That's the only other movie where I've ever seen him in. And the second main character is played by Elisa Dushku, who plays the character of Jessie Burlingame. Now, Elisa Dushku, probably most people know from True Lies, but that was when she was a child, basically a young teenager. So that was long before her, before she got really popular. I thought that they did an okay job of this, so I'm not gonna criticize the acting. It's just a teen horror movie after all. This movie feels sort of like a tribute to back in the days when slasher horror movies were the norm, like Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street. Those are very popular. And I thought this was a nice throwback to those times. So what's a plot? I'm reading this from IMDb, so you get an official source. 6 people find themselves trapped in the woods of West Virginia, hunted down by cannibalistic mountain men, grossly disfigured through generations of inbreeding. Yeah, this sounds really ridiculous and stupid, but trust me, once you watch the movie, it's actually not that bad. I mean, for having such a stupid plot line, it surprisingly is a very entertaining movie, and it's much better than it sounds like. I can't really give much away, since it's a horror movie. If I give you anything away, you already know who is gonna die, even though when you watch the movie, you're gonna quickly realize who is going to die here. But anyway, so much for the plot. This movie had 2 sequels so far, with I think a third one in the works, Wrong Turn 4. I saw the sequels, was not too much impressed. They went for the gore, and the acting got much worse. I say, if you want to see Wrong Turn, take this one. If you really like it, like if you were rated something rather high, like I don't know, 6, 7 or something, then you probably should check out the sequels. Just don't expect too much. Those were direct to DVD movies. This one I think was released theatrically, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, that's basically Wrong Turn. It's a entertaining, simple thriller that can be scary at times, but it really depends on how easily you're scared. If you're easily scared, you're in for a thrill ride. If not, well, at least you will be entertained. I can assure you that. A nice bit of trivia. The song that plays during the end credits of this movie is by Breaking Benjamin. Not gonna tell you which one it is, but I'm just saying this was the song that got me into Breaking Benjamin. I really like that band, so that's a plus. Introduced me to one of my favorite rock bands. Not too bad. So that's Wrong Turn. What do I rate it? 6.5 out of 10. I think that's a fair rating. This movie is nothing spectacular, but it's still pretty good, in my opinion, if you like slasher movies. Otherwise, you're probably gonna think it's too ridiculous. It depends on what kind of horror nut you are. If you are into movies like this might be one of those hidden gems you haven't seen yet. So, check it out.